Welcome to the core project Q&A. Got Matthew Young, Jana Kuthi and Diana joining us. I think, Diana, you're letting people in and out, and Jana will be curating the Q&As, and Matthew will be giving us an overview of the do's and don'ts for the applications. I'm just going to run through some housekeeping now. Keep your microphone muted at the moment. Once we get through the back end of the presentation, we can people can unmute and mute as they ask questions. We have recorded this event, so it will be available at some stage on our website. If you're able to submit questions using the Q&A function, we'll try and address them as we're going, or save some of them for the end of the session. If you have any technical issues, just let us know through the chat. So, quick rundown on the agenda, quick recap, what an ideal core project looks like, do's and don'ts, dates, submissions, and then obviously the Q&A, and a quick highlight of what's coming up within the CRC over the next 6 months. Remember, submission date for this funding round is the 15th of April, and all details and applications can be found on the website. I suppose we're hoping that between now and the submission date, you are engaging with the CRC. Make sure that the submission has the best chance of getting through quickly to our Project Investment Committee. So, a quick welcome to country. We respectfully acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, who are the traditional owners on the land of which the CRC office is located at in Hawthorn. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Okay, quick snapshot for people that are unfamiliar with some of the numbers behind the CRC. A 7-year CRC, the clock's been ticking on that. We're down to about 6.5 years now. So that really means we've got sort of 5 years to commit all our funding. Towards the back end of the CRC, there will be some smaller projects that we'll be able to support, but certainly major 2, 3, 4 year projects obviously need to be started within the next 2 years. Currently 77 industry partners, lots of government support, both federally and state, and 13 research organisations. Some of you might have remembered that a few months ago it was 14 research organisations. We've obviously had Adelaide University and University of South Australia merge, and they are now one rather large organisation. And then we have our international partners from the US and Germany at the moment. So $57 million of Commonwealth funding, looking to transform and uplift Australia's manufacturing sector. Our mission is to build a world-class additive manufacturing ecosystem, and a range of benefits are going to come from that, most notably uplifting our current manufacturing capability, particularly looking at developing greater sovereign capability and supporting broader workforce opportunities around a skilled workforce. So, being a collaborative funding program, we currently match funding from industry. So if we look at the current core funding round, we have a minimum investment of $250K from an industry partner, $250K from a research, or from us as a CRC. That then flows to our research partners, of which we have 12 universities and CSIRO, and those funds then get used to do the research that the industry partner has identified as critical to their growth, to their their long-term objectives as far as product development is concerned, or solving critical problems within their industry. So, example here is project total cash investment based on a budget provided by a research partner for a particular program. Let's say that's $1 million. We will fund half of it, so $500,000, and the industry partner will fund the other half. As I've mentioned numerous times, the balance or the funds that the industry partner puts into the CRC is eligible for a tax concession, R&D tax concession. So you'll obviously need to take some advice on that, but that generally, because those funds are coming to a registered research organisation, those funds can be directly claimed. And then you've got the in-kind behind the scenes with your team working with the research partner. In some cases, they can be claimed as well. So in-kind is an important part of our projects. We record that on behalf for the Commonwealth, and that's part of our milestones. So there will be in-kind from the research partners and in-kind from the industry partners that we need to report against a project. So what does an ideal core project look like? Start with the term, 2 to 4 years. The cash amount, as I mentioned before, $250K minimum, up to $3 million in total, and then we will match those funds. So you might have a project from $500,000 up to $6 million. So we can support some pretty large research projects. Dollar for dollar matching. You can see the other aspects there. We're looking to move manufacturing readiness levels from 4 to 7. There's a little bit of flexibility around that, but that's what we're targeting. So projects that moved out of a test tube, so to speak, and they might be on a laboratory bench needing to move from pilot through testing, qualification, validation, in towards prototype and pilot run, that's where we want to support. So on top of that is our PhDs. So we have a mandate to support 25 PhDs and masters, and we obviously like to align them with projects so that there's an opportunity for the PhDs to step out of the PhD program once they're finished and continue to support the industry partner. So just a quick snapshot of what some successful projects have looked like to date. We have supported 12 fast-track projects, and they're currently either in contracting or onboarding. I think about 6 of them have been contracted, so they're technically ready to kick off, and others are just moving through the process of ticking boxes with either the research partner or the industry partner as far as getting the project agreement signed off. So just to give you a little bit of a flavour, there's quite a spread of projects amongst those 12. So we look at a range of different industries: resources, medtech, renewables, transport, defence. Obviously, a big one for the NRF is critical minerals and building up our sovereign capability in that space. And we have a project that's been approved. We have some medtech projects, particularly around medical training, and that's quite an exciting project. Once that's up and running, we'll be able to give you a bit more of a heads up on what that looks like. Coatings, we've had some good success with our research program 4, where we particularly look at post-processing, and we've got 2 or 3 coating programs up and running. One of them is for automotive parts. Another one is a specific laser cladding to improve the productivity during the steel making process. So diverse range of projects, cross sectors, and also, as you can see, across our research program themes. So I'm going to hand over to Matthew Young this space. I'm coordinating the slides, so he'll call out as he passes me to move along. Matthew, over to you.
Hi everyone, afternoon. If you're submitting an application by now, we hope that you've had a chance to get online and download the key documents. They're still available online. You'll see there's a core project application guidelines, which we suggest you read through first, and then the application itself with the written answers. Accompanying that, we're asking you to fill out a project financial budget spreadsheet, and when you go through that, you'll see there's some instructions on the side of each page, and the green highlighted green areas are where you enter the data. So it's pretty straightforward. If you have any problems or questions, just get in contact with us and we can walk you through those. And just highlighting, as did last time, we're happy to assist you and give feedback on the application as you develop it. And we do so because we have an independent committee assessing the application. So maybe if you jump into the next slide, Simon. So there's a number of key things that we're looking for in an application, and this kind of runs along each section of our application, and a few do's and don'ts. So I won't read directly from the page, but key to our projects is a good problem opportunity statement and how it works. So what we're looking for is a clear description of a real industrial problem or opportunity, explaining why it matters commercially to the industrial partner, and where existing solutions are there, why they may be inadequate. And of course, being an additive manufacturing CRC, we need it linked directly. So, a good example is, our company may be experiencing long lead times for low volume spare parts. Current supply chain requires a batch size that's not viable. So to address that, we're looking to develop a capability locally for AM certified parts for this low volume demand. Key thing is not to answer in generic terms. So, talking about additive manufacturing being innovative and important, those sort of things, we're all aware of that. We're not looking for research-led problems as, a discovery process. We're looking for, here's a proof of concept, or there's some concept that's provable that can be taken through to a prototype stage. And then, we're not looking for, we don't need you describing the solution before the problem's put in place. Generic answers about additive manufacturing, growing technology may need, with opportunities in this project, we'll investigate them, is not going to bear well for an industry-led projects. So this follows through in the whole theme. So outcomes, again, specific, tangible things directly linked to the problem. Explain how the industry partner intends to use those or the opportunities that develops for them, and then include, wherever possible, what the outcomes can be there. We're not looking for a list of discrete activities or vague benefits around knowledge generation of the sorts. The outcome section does note academic outcomes, but they can't be the sole outcome of the project. Just jump to the next slide, Simon. So we have a clear areas of strategic fit for the projects. You'll find in the application the manufacturing readiness levels are defined both in the guidelines and in the appendix of the application. Use those and reference them, and try and clearly state where the target start and target MRLs are for the project, whether that's related to quality, to training, to system improvement, to materials development. It's all covered in that MRL table that you can identify where you're at and where you want to be. So don't just provide we'll start at 3 and we'll finish at 7 without an explanation. So that we know clearly why you're assessing it at those levels. Be clear as what's advanced and what's innovative, what's new and different. Be specific about the technologies. Try and avoid, claims of world-class first things. They don't tend to bear well with why an industry would be doing it. Unless you can justify it from a point of view of building the industry, from an investment case or something like that really fits with the problem. And again, avoid buzzwords and things like that. Where every project that we want to support, we have program 1 as sustainable manufacturing, and we're looking for any elements of sustainability in all our projects. So we have projects that have clear lines to sustainability, from using waste resources as inputs into additive manufacturing. In some cases, it's more around the sustainability of the business and the ecosystem as a whole, or sustainability of being more competitive in Industry 4.0. So it covers a broader area, program 1, and you'll see that there's explanations again in the appendices of high-level titles of what the programs are. And so you'll see the themes of sustainability that you can write to in those questions. Collaboration, we ask areas around how you will work together. We're not looking for we're looking for clear roles and how you interact as a cohesive team between industry and researchers, and how the partnership is a co-development one. So it shouldn't sound like a direct contract with the university. We need to understand the roles and how the key players, the university and the industry, will take on the responsibilities in getting the project across the line. Just the next slide. The benefits that we're looking for are primarily for the industry partner, whether it's quality, benefits, cost, time, revenue, cost avoidance even can be a consideration, and as well why this is a priority to the business. And there's two things priority. There's obviously the will to do the work itself, but as well, what extra does this funding bring to you as a priority for the business that you couldn't do otherwise? May have had to adjust that don't, so I'm not quite sure whether it's saying when I guess we're not looking into benefits that put down other situations and things like that. We're looking for constructive benefits. Only research outcomes are not what we're looking for, and part of the output should be evidence as to why it's a benefit or why the opportunity exists. The other areas of benefits being a Commonwealth funded activity is that broader ecosystem and the Australian industry as a whole. So how does that affect your supply chain, a sector, a workforce, all those areas. How does that, fit with our sovereign capability and national priorities? So that improves the scores in those areas. From a broader AM perspective and community in the don't, please don't overclaim benefits to the community and things like that. Yes, we're going through a housing crisis and things like that, but AM construction 3D printing on its own is not going to solve those sort of problems. So don't overextend your claims and areas of those where it is. It needs to be real, tangible, and relatable. And again, just avoid vague statements in these areas. The next slide. Oops, jump on there. Yeah, so I guess what we're looking for in a successful project application, strong industry commitment. We're looking for senior managers, obviously, to be on board. Part of our process, as we'll show in the next slide, is an interview, and we want that senior person to be presenting and pitching the project as to what the company does and why it's important to the project as part of our application process after applications are submitted. Broader benefits to Australian manufacturing, approach to research which is holistic, and sound. So, if there's an opportunity to include the capabilities beyond just the science itself from the research institutes, the business case, development, the understanding of the markets, those areas, then that makes for a really good application and a good story that can be supported. We have, as part of that, Simon put up the initial slide of what where investment is and what that will grow to. And part of that is in kind that we've committed to the Commonwealth. So we're making sure that, we capture in kind contributions correctly, and that there is a good leverage of the Commonwealth money in the application. As I noted before, applications in tangible outcomes, specific, measurable, and industry adoption pathways are clearly defined. There's just a few things there to avoid. Our committee may not be completely across every technology in every area, and so you can't assume that they'll know what your buzzwords, acronyms, abbreviations are in relation to AM. Again, avoid all those generic AM statements. Everyone's somewhat in the industry may be a bit tired of ambit claims as to solutions and that. We need to be quite specific. And then, we must avoid, as an industry-led organisation, we can't, accommodate research for only framed applications. Did you want to jump into this slide, Simon?
Yeah, thanks, Matthew. I think one point I will make to everyone assembled today is that the sooner you can get a draft application into Matthew and the team, better, because 10 minutes of them reading your application will highlight areas that need adjustment, need improvement, and also areas that are really good. So you'll quickly get that feedback, and then you can build that into the final submission. We have a process where we'll get the final submission and run through it, and there will be some feedback coming to you before we put it towards the Project Investment Committee. And remember, not all applications get to the Project Investment Committee. So this is an iterative process that we try and do internally with you, the industry partner, and ourselves to get the applications up to the right level. So running through what success looks like, expressions of interest, guidelines, project plans and budgets. They are a bit more detailed than our fast track program, so some effort will need to go into these. And again, we are looking for people to commit to the type of in-kind they will be bringing to the project, because that is important for us to record part of our Commonwealth milestones. There is a pitch, and I should emphasise that the pitch is done by the industry partner, preferably most senior person in the organisation, CEO, managing director, or it might be a CTO. And that pitch is really the time where an average application can get a significant uplift. I think the committee looks for passion, looks for commitment out of the pitch, and it's a really good opportunity to, I suppose, show the company's commitment to the research and how it's going to impact on them and their future economic benefit. If a program is up to 250K commitment from the CRC and below, it will be approved by myself as the Managing Director. Anything above that needs to go to the board. We have deliberately structured our meetings of the PIC to be about 4 weeks before the board meeting, so that there's a short delay between us preparing the board approval process and getting it to the board. The minute it's back from the board, within a week and a half, we will have let everyone know of the approval process from the board. Having said that, generally, if the PIC has approved a project, the board will approve it as well. I say that generally. We deliberately have a process where the board does have final say. And then we move through the project agreement phase. Our experience is that this can be the longest part of the process. By the time the industry partner has a good look at the project agreement, the research partner has a look at it, it can certainly drag out. So if there's anything people can take some hard-learned lessons from, is make sure everyone's on the same page with the project agreement and have a couple of quick working meetings to get everyone aligned with any of the issues within it and address them quickly. And that will move you forward with getting those project agreements signed. So just some key dates there. As we've mentioned before, 15th of April, the applications close. We'll run through an assessment and scoring period up until the 6th of May, and that's when applicants will be presenting their proposal or their pitch to the Project Investment Committee. It's a 15-minute session. Sorry, Matthew, how long was the session for the pitch? We upped it a little bit to 15 and 15?
So it's generally around a 10-minute pitch, so no more than 10 slides, and then 15 minutes Q&A. So it's not a big ask, but you'd be surprised what depth the insight people can get from that.
Very, very important part of the pitch. Then 19th of May, we've got recommendation to the board for final approval. And as I said, within a week and a half, 2 weeks, we'll have let people officially know whether they've been successful or not. Unofficially, we'll probably notify you within a couple of days. Officially, there'll be a letterhead and an official approval process on our letterhead. Where applications need to be submitted, welcome to talk to any of us. Matthew's obviously the point man when it comes to the applications, but myself and Frank are very happy to have high-level discussions about what might be a good fit for an application and what partners can be brought into the program. So probably time to move to Q&A. Jana, was there anything that popped up in the Q&A board that we can review now, and then we can open up the microphones?
No. So no written questions at the moment. So you can open the floor and people can raise their hand. Okay.
So yes, if people want to raise their hand and unmute. I can't see everyone. Jana, are you able to... we'll set this up so I can, but let's start the Q&A session. All right, so I can see most people there.
Simon, one question just popped up. Is there a way to see what projects have been funded in the past?
Good question.
So when you say the past, are you referring to the AMCRC projects, or are you referring to the fast track projects that we highlighted 5 or 6 of them?
Maybe.
AMCRC. So
maybe just the quick answer. We intend to share with everyone when we're able to, projects that are being funded. Part of our funding conditions is that we won't announce it until we have a project in place and an agreement in place. And part of that agreement is that all parties agree to what is released about the project and how it is done. At this stage, we only have one of those with a communication plan in place and a press release. So we only have the NTEX project released at this date. There shall be a few in the future.
So one question that does crop up occasionally is this core funding round linked to the AUKUS program? No, it's not. That program hasn't been finalised yet. So this program is sector agnostic, so we can cover off all sectors, including defence. It's just not specifically targeted towards the AUKUS funding program. Unless there are any more questions, I'm going to jump to one more slide. Hang on.
Yeah. Two just came in, Simon. So Justin and Taylor asked a question first time at one of your sessions. Can you please provide a little more detail regarding the fast track project stream or less than 250K funding stream?
Okay, thanks for the question, Justin. Yes, we do have a program for smaller projects focusing on SMEs that with a much lower contribution and a much shorter time frame. That will probably be announced in May, so that gives you a little bit of a flavour for it. It'll cut across again all industry sectors, targeting SMEs and startups with funding levels from say 20K up to 150K. So ideal for SMEs looking to dip their toe into the the research landscape, hoping that we'll move them from small projects up to core projects over the next few years. Yes, we can get the presentations. That's not a problem.
What's a proper industry partner?
What's a proper industry partner? Okay, so basically it's any private or publicly listed organisation that is involved in manufacturing or product development. As an example, Boeing is one of our major partners, and they're going to be running a number of research programs over the life of the CRC. So that's at a high level. At a low level, from a company size perspective, Speed 3D are a partner, and I think most of you know that they're developing deployable cold spray solutions for defence, and they're probably about 40 staff, 20 million turnover sort of range. Then we go down to even smaller SMEs, where we have companies like Acoustic Automation, which are 2 or 3 staff and are looking to do research into specific areas to support some of their customer base. So an industry partner is a startup through to SME, through to a large international corporate that has an Australian presence with a desire or a manufacturing base here in Australia. That's pretty much the main mandate. Matthew, you want to add some comments to that?
Yeah. Just to add to that, the company, to match Commonwealth funds, they need to be a registered entity in Australia. And you'll note, I think it's section 13 of the application, we do ask for some information, background information from the company, and part of that is to show that the company is financially capable of supporting the funding, and has, or if they don't have the means now, they have the business to support an ongoing project.
So, yeah, I can see the comment there, Jana. Yeah. Industry partner does not have to be a member. That's correct. We have a range of funding that has been ring-fenced for our existing partners and members, but we also have funding outside of that is available for any particular industry partner that wants to come on board.
Simon, there was another question in the Q&A. Is there any chance in the future for lower contributions from industry?
Lower contributions, less than 50%,
250.
is that correct?
Yeah.
If they were in defence, the AUKUS program will have a funding arrangement where it is 2/3 coming from the CRC and the US Navy and 1/3 coming from the industry partner. But it must have a maritime / AUKUS focus. So it's very specific. If it is outside of that, no, we don't. We support 50-50 funding.
Right. We've got 2 more questions under the chat. One being, do you have any weights for the various criteria? So for instance, sustainable inputs versus traditional inputs?
Yeah, look, there's, against each question, there's a score, a weight, or a possible score. Some are out of 6, some are out of 1 point, some are out of 2 points. So you can, collectively, you can see what the weight of the question is. When it's a higher scoring question, we ask that you allow a larger field to answer that question. When it's a lower scoring, it's a shorter field.
I got a question from Kylie there. Research infrastructure and equipment. the CRC only supports basic researchers' labour and time. Yes, that would generally be the case, that projects need to use existing equipment. However, if there is a specific piece of equipment that needs to be rented, hired, leased, that can be incorporated into the budget, and it will, for the duration of when it's being used, we will cover those costs. But yeah, not ideal, but there have been cases where we've done that. Matthew, some more colour on that, please.
Yeah, just to add to that, operational expenses is what we can cover. The Commonwealth has a sideline that capital equipment it needs approval direct from the Commonwealth, if it's above a certain level, it needs to be owned by the centre. We have no intention to own capital equipment, so we're not supporting that. But in the eyes of the Commonwealth, a capital acquisition is anything over $50,000. So we can support, some infrastructure that's directly related to the project. What we ask, though, is that you make sure you understand who the intended owner is at the end of that project, and that the university and industry partner has that clear understanding going into anything that requires that.
So we've got some more information required about the AUKUS related program. We're probably at least 3 months away before we release anything about the AUKUS program. So it is there, and we have the federal government support for it, but we're going through quite a few discussions with the US Navy about what a suitable project will look like that supports their requirements for AUKUS. So that's going to be at least 3 months away before we release any information around that. There's another question there. Okay. Interesting question. I might, can international companies apply for the funding focusing on supporting Australian AM supply chain? Two things with that. Sam mentioned it needs to be an Australian entity. It can be a subsidiary of an international company that has set up a corporate structure here in Australia. So that is one way of doing it. If they are supporting it through an Australian entity or subsidiary, and they are bringing on local industry partners, and we can demonstrate that there is benefit to the Australian manufacturing base, yes, that could be supported. It's worth a discussion, definitely. I think we're getting towards the end of the questions. Unless we've got any more questions, we're probably wrapping up a little bit early, but last slide, we'll just put this up. Best email address. So just bring up the presentation and you'll see the email address. Matthew, can you rattle that off by heart?
It's generally my address, so matthew.young@amcrc.com.au. And Jana's just put it in the comments in the chat. Also in the Q&A, there's a question, Jana, is there a chance for future lower contributions from industry? Oh, I think we've answered.
Okay, so we're assuming we've covered off most of the questions. Any more, put them in an email to us. And just a little bit of what's next. So Australian Manufacturing Week up in Brisbane. We have a booth up there, and we're supported by a couple of our university partners in Queensland. So there will be an industry panel where we're looking at some unique Australian case study. AM has built a significant business because of the way it was able to change the dynamics in the orthotics market. We have a networking luncheon where we're looking at AM opportunities for SMEs and going through education and training requirements. And we've obviously got a booth there. The next core funding round towards the end of May, that will open, and then applications will close in July, 10th of July. And then our project investment committee meets the end of July, and investment approval at the board meeting, which will happen, I think, early August. So sort of mid-August, we're probably in a position where we're approving the next round. And obviously, an important date for researchers and our industry partners and members and potential new members is our Additive Manufacturing Forum. We had a very successful one at the back end of our launch event, October last year. This year we're in Adelaide at the Wine Centre, just North Adelaide there. Great venue, and we're going to have another excellent round of speakers to talk about all things additive and the benefits to industry. So I'd like to thank everyone for their time and thank the team for supporting the event and pulling together the presentation. As I said, 15th of April is the cut-off date for the applications. Matthews and the team are very keen to hear from people that are moving through the process of pulling applications together. So thanks for your time, and wish you farewell. Cheers.